Did you do that with Canva?
No.
Well, let me tell you, I can fucking make something better than that with Canva. So. What's that?
And we are back. Yeah, and when I mean that, I mean literally back. It's only been since June 31st since this absolutely hiatus. We were just listening to Sit and Spin from Planets in the Ocean, one of those great Pacific Northwest bands, just keeping it so alive and well. And
Rob Benson, you're watching tonight.
Well, the cool thing about it is, so Rob the other day, so Tim DiGiulio, if you don't know, who is a guitarist from Stereo Embers, also been touring with Duff McKagan. There was a little bit of a drop hint the other day that Stereo Embers 2025 is a very large possibility, which would make Anthony have to come to Seattle for to actually see them. But yeah.
Well, I know where they have a show, by the way.
Oh wait, so Stereo Embers? It was just a hint. Now you're telling me it's official.
No, I'm just telling you that if that happens, they have a place to play.
I think that's a great idea. I think that could be our next charity event.
There we go. All right, book it, people.
Yeah, no, it's. I can't believe it's been
Matt?
August. No show in August. No show September. No show in October, and now we are back in November. So for anyone that was interested, I'll keep it real simple. Literally after our last show we did on the 31st, after this show, I went out to go to work and was involved in a pretty significant accident that kept me from being able to sit for long periods of time. I thought I was fine. I thought I was sore, and ended up being a lot more. That's why I have the fat face, as I've gained weight from not being in the gym. But we're back, and we have the shows coming in hot and heavy. But we're here tonight. So tonight's show, last week, I'm like, Trey, I got to do this. I got to get back into the studio. Are you ready? And he's like, just book the date. And we did. And I thought to myself, I'm like, this, we're ending the 2024 Pearl Jam Dark Matter tour. The album has been really kind of around us for a long period of time. And I'm like, what a better way to kind of just do an end of year review of Dark Matter, how we think of it, kind of talk about some of the songs. And maybe I can ask Trey, like, hey, what was your favorite song from 2024? And we'll give it a listen. Uh-oh. Oh, well, the great love of... Hold on. Let's see.
Of the internet.
I fucking hate it. I hate technology. I really effing do.
I know. I apologize. I hope it's not on my end. So I'll make sure I get my my family off of, or at least I'll try to jump off. I don't know if that's what it is, though.
No, we'll see what happens as we go along. I'm looking at the new so the new update on our program that we haven't used in 3 months is completely different than anything I've ever used. So it could be something. It could be my error, which I'll take full responsibility for. But so Dark Matter, we've had it for a few.
I'm gonna give you the blame no matter what. So
yeah, that's cool. I mean, I feel as though I get the blame for a lot of things. So if that's the least of my blames, I'll fucking take it. But if you think about it, dude, so Pearl Jam ends their tour just a few days ago. And ends it on probably the craziest set list that they've done in ages. I mean,
that was pretty insane. I will tell you, I love Garden as the opening song, and when I saw the set list start rolling through, yeah, that was a special show. It's funny as we're getting this under control, and it looks much better now, Anthony. So thank you.
Yeah, working on it.
I had texted maybe 30 minutes ago. I texted my buddy Jeff Whitman to find out if he's back home yet.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally, as we went live, he just texted. He says, "Just got home." Jesus. And so I'm going to ask him if he will jump on next month's podcast with us.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, Jeff, good friend of mine, that ironically I met through the wine business, but happened to be a huge Pearl Jam fan. We met face to face in 2011 at Pearl Jam 20 in Alpine Valley. Um, well, Jeff and Al, we'll recount the story live next month. I'm sure he'd be happy to do it. Anyway, he's the tour photographer for Pearl Jam. He did this entire Dark Matter tour. He had shot them previously um, over the previous tour for some of that, and then I know he shot Bottle Rock, and he's been down to Ohana Fest and shot Ohana Fest and stuff. And but this year he's like the official tour photographer, and I just shake my head and think, holy shit, that's fucking amazing. Because I will tell you, anyone who's listening, and it may be two people, it may be 200, I don't know, but if you're a Pearl Jam fan, imagine being a huge Pearl Jam fan and getting the opportunity to go travel and tour as one of them, essentially. I mean, and Jeff, if you've ever met him, you'll understand why. He is the most personable human being you'll ever meet. And he's just an all around amazing human. So couldn't think of anybody better for that to happen for than Jeff. And so we'll get him on next month. But thinking about this new album, because we really haven't talked about it much, Anthony.
No, that's the weird thing. I kind of listened back to some
Yeah,
of the last shows the last few weeks and kind of knowing that was leading up to this, just kind of look at what we've done this year. And, we kind of talked a little bit about it from our experiences in Seattle and how we, heard it live,
yeah,
but living with it for a while is something totally
yeah,
different. Cause I think, music in general, as you grow with it, it all kind of relatively changes for you. Like a song might
yeah,
need something, you might not love a song the first couple times you hear, but as you grow with it, you're like, man, this just hits something different. It hits a different note. And as you grow with the album, I think it just changes. It's just life in general. As you're around something so long, you look at something different, you hear something different, it moves with you. You understand it a little bit more. In the
yeah,
same sense too, seeing it live so many times, especially through live streams and also through the ability of us seeing it in person, it really hits home for you. So it's an interesting concept. Just kind of like dig deep in what our thoughts are on the album and how it's kind of resonated with us, especially with some of these albums. I mean, like Vitalogy hitting 30 years old just a few
yeah.
weeks ago. It's crazy how all of these things have changed so much over time.
That's true, but it's funny. Sometimes if you look at the messaging, that hasn't changed that much.
No,
You know what
not
I
at
mean?
all.
Like they've been that's the one thing that's been fairly constant with Pearl Jam is that they've always been, pretty direct and upfront with their messaging early,
Yep.
and I feel like they've stood by the majority, if not all of it. Like I haven't really tried to dive deep into every song from their past to find out, you know, if it's still relevant today. But I feel like a lot of it is for sure. So,
Well,
um,
and
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 it
you'd have
showed
to
in this
think
album for sure.
you'd have to think as well too is if you look at like Eddie Vedder when he was writing those songs in his early 20s and what those meant to him then and how he's grown and how those songs have changed not only for him but the listeners of his music and how that's adapted the way he sings those songs. I mean, think of the song Alive. Do you honestly believe when
Yeah.
Eddie Vedder was writing that song 30 something years ago and he was writing the song that he would think that that song would hold signs in audiences of people saying that this song saved my life when in general
In
that
fact,
song.
it was very, yeah, the messaging when he wrote that song is obviously a very different than, like what Eddie was writing about for that song, which he's talked about a lot. Very different from how people sort of absorbed it and like, you know, made it personal for them.
Correct.
And that goes to show you that, it's okay for a songwriter to have one thing in mind for writing a song. It's okay for people to adopt that maybe in a different way. the messaging may hit differently for them. So, and that's okay.
That's the fantastic thing about art in general. And I think that's
Yeah.
why like people
Yeah.
like you and me, or even like people in circles around us, like we might not agree on a lot of things. But it's the thing that kind of brings us together is the art side of music and art in general, and how we look at it, and then we can interpret it one way and then someone else, but we can find a way that those two things collide together and they all mean the same thing. It brings us happiness in life, right? It
Yep.
brings us
Yep.
joy that other things can't.
Yeah.
So that's what
You
makes
look,
this whole
you look at
situation
you look at
unique.
a painting. You look at a painting and you see something completely different with somebody else, but you both receive immense joy from looking at that painting,
Correct.
but for different reasons, and that's okay. So,
Totally
but
100% with you.
that's really what happened, and that is Pearl Jam in a nutshell, right there.
Yeah.
It's you can pick any song from any album that has meaning for somebody, and sometimes you'll be like, absolutely, it's exactly what it means to me too. And other times you'll be like, well, no, I felt this, and that's cool. So,
Yeah,
and they do a
100%.
great job of that.
I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. And I think the cool thing about this tour in general, this tour and how it ended, and it's given us this idea of looking past it. And then tomorrow, Destined to Remember, which is the other show I do with a couple of different people, Randy from Live on Four Lakes podcast and Dave from livefootstep.org. We're gonna be digging into like the logistics and the logic and the algorithm and the statistics and stats of the tour and talk about those moments. So we won't really do that in this show. It's more or less just an overall feel. So if people are asking questions about that, we have a couple of YouTube questions that come up. That will be more for that. This is just me and Trey yapping away about our feelings and how it comes. But tonight we're gonna open up. So we're gonna talk about wine here in a minute because we've definitely talked a lot of Pearl Jam before we get into the wine, and then we're gonna talk really into Dark Matter and talk about our favorite songs off the album and how the album's changed for us, how we initially thought about it, and where it is now, and then maybe we'll pop up. We'll have some of the songs in the background and talk about it a little bit. But first, let's talk about the wine we're drinking tonight, because if there's one thing that I have learned in it's weird to say, it's the 4 years I've been doing the show with you, Trey, is, your vast knowledge of wine and the ability of drinking the right thing, how to drink it, where to get it from, who to support, how to get your wine in general, which I've always thoroughly, appreciated, because in the grand scheme of things, it's so easy to go to a store and just get it. But I've actually now thoroughly enjoyed the experience of getting the wine and then bringing it home, almost like some people get vinyl. So, and I learned that all from you in the last 4 years. So let's dig into tonight. You want to talk about what you're drinking first?
Sure. Well, first I called Anthony half an hour ago, get set up for the show, find out what he was drinking. And let's see, the first wine that he said, I'm going to be drinking this, and he spells it out. And I can't remember what the word was. I can't remember the name of the winery, but he said something, and he said rosé. And I'm like, rosé in November. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'm a proponent of drinking rosé all year round. But then Anthony realized it had not been in the refrigerator. Like, it's just room temp. And probably not great. It could be okay. If it's a really great rosé, they drink okay at warmer temps. But the reality is those should be consumed a little colder.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he said, okay, he pulled another one out and he spells it out, and I type it in, and it's a Grenache from Santa Barbara County, which is in closer to LA than it is to San Francisco, so a little further south. But it's also a coastal climate, and the further west you go, the cooler it gets. So you're growing things like Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. And then when you go a little bit further inland, you're growing some Rhone varietals like Syrah and Grenache, and other varietals there too. So anyway, that varietal that you have, Anthony, is, I think, the 2019. And what's the name of the winery again?
It is. No, this was not planned. This is actually, and it's funny that Brad and Sam are the lucky people that actually gave me this bottle of wine. Here it is. It is. Let me read it.
Cana?
Yes,
Cana?
indeed.
Cana. Let's call it Cana.
Listen, I have no idea how to say things. I can barely
but
speak
look
English.
Go back to the front of that. That's from Los Alamos, which is Thompson Vineyard in Los Alamos. And so again, we're Southern California. It's a fairly warm site. That is, what's the alcohol level on that? Go up 15%.
Yeah.
So 15% alcohol, not uncommon for Grenache at all. Even in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, those wines are consistently, especially the high scoring wines that are quite ripe in style. They're going to be a little darker than, I'm not going to say than Grenache should be. I'm going to say darker than Grenache that we make for sure. And honestly, darker than I prefer from an extraction standpoint. It's very difficult to pick Grenache at the right time because it's you look at the cluster and there's all different levels of ripeness in the clusters and stuff. And so because the clusters are huge, they can weigh up to a pound. I mean, they're big, huge clusters. And so the trick with Grenache for me on the picking decision is trying to capture it before it just gets those like really ripe components. And because they can come off a little raisiny, a little pruny, dried cranberry, like dried red fruits instead of like fresh red fruit. And there's nothing, I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm saying that my preference for Grenache is to capture them more in the fresh red fruit spectrum and that strawberry, red cherry kind of notes. And because we use a lot of whole cluster, they also have a kind of a green component. So you had Santa Barbara, so I went down to Paso Robles.
Okay. Yeah.
This is a winery called Lenny Colado. Get it this way. There you go. Down in Paso. This is from 2012. This is a blend of Grenache, Mourvedre, and Syrah. 63 Grenache, 19 Mourvedre, and the remainder is Syrah. And this is 15.8.
Wow.
And that's a ripe wine. Now, I will tell you, we've been to this winery a couple times. I like the wines. I like that they make really good versions of the style that they are trying to make. That makes sense. Like, it doesn't mean they're my favorite style of that wine, but they know exactly what they're making and they do it really, really well.
Okay.
And so if you like, it's again, it's art, music, right? You may not appreciate, Americana, but like Jason Isbell's like really fucking great at what he does. And so,
Yeah.
and a lot of people think he is great. And so the same thing with these wines. These are very well made wines. It's wines and still in great shape. It's 12 years old. I typically find wines at higher alcohol levels like this don't tend to age as well. I feel like they maybe lack some acidity, and what their ripeness level has, they're sort of giving something else up on the back end. This wine is not that. This wine is actually in great shape. It still has a lot of fruit. It's showing like barely a mature character, where the wine's showing a little bit of age, but in a very pleasant way. I think this wine is in awesome shape. So, how's your wine tasting? 2019.
This is really good. This is really good. Like, so there's a little. It's not extremely tannic like some of the other wines I've had. There's a little taste of it towards the end at the base of my tongue. I get after definitely taking a sip. It is really sweet.
Like a tannin, like a tannin shape.
Yeah. But it's not like overwhelming. So it's kind of like sometimes that sensation is enjoyable because I like the fact that like you kind of get that. It's kind of like when you're high, like, you get different feelings and it's kind of it's enjoyable. this one in general is probably a top 5 wine for me. Out of all the wines we've ever had, this is easily in the top 5. This is really good. It's super easy to drink, and
Yep.
this is just like, this is good. This is really good. You can definitely you can definitely feel like, now I haven't drank, well, I don't know. I've drank beer and stuff, but I haven't had a good bottle of wine. I think the last good bottle of wine I had was with Brad. I think we had wine when we were in Portland. I don't remember.
For where?
So
Yeah.
so
In Seattle or Portland?
well, no. So I don't really want to give everything away, but anyway, so Brad had to move from Vancouver to Portland.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yes.
So I came out and we did the drive, which was a stunning drive, by the way. P.S. Like,
Stunning.
oh,
Gorgeous.
it's stunning. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. You know, going, first of all, I mean, no offense to Portland, I don't know why you would leave the beautiful of what Vancouver is. And Portland's more, a city, and it's different. I mean, driving through, especially leaving outside of Seattle, going to Portland, there's just so much. I mean, the views were out of this world, but like, yeah, no, this wine is absolutely stunning. This is a good one. This would be something I would love. This is a good conversational wine, in my opinion, because there's some wines you have to pair with like a cheese or even a meat and stuff like that. And I like red wines that you just drink and you don't have to pair with something. And I would say this is a great wine that you just open the bottle, pour across. And this was great. This is a good conversational wine. And then, hey, here's a question for you. And there's a lot of people commenting. We'll get back to it. But Matt says, do you make a Grenache at Sleight of Hand Cellars?
We do make Grenache. We started making Grenache in 2013 as a varietal. We make a wine called the Sorceress, which is 100% Grenache. It's usually a blend of vineyards. The first couple of vintages, there may have been a single vineyard upland, but for the most part, it's a blend of 3 vineyard sites. And then in 2019, we started making a wine called Higher Ground, which is Stevie Wonder song, and Red Hot Chili Peppers covered that song as well. So if you music nerds outside of Pearl Jam, you'll probably recognize the song. Anyway, the song's called the wine is called Higher Ground, and it is also 100% Grenache. It's 100% whole cluster. It's made in a style that is similar to the Sorceress in that, our decision making on picking decisions and sort of growing our fruit that vintage, it's fairly similar site to site. Our philosophy on what we're trying to make doesn't necessarily change with the different wines. What changes is the vineyard is a different site, and you may stick to the same parameters that you do with all of your wines, but when you're making a picking decision from a special site, then the vineyard should express itself differently. And Weather Eye is a very, very special vineyard site. It's on the top of Red Mountain, which is it's about an hour and 20 minutes away from where we are here in Walla Walla, and very, very special vineyard site. We're one of, I think, maybe 6 wineries that get to work with that fruit, and it's a pretty special list of wineries, and so we're very fortunate that we get to work with that fruit. It is a very, very expressive vineyard, and so we make that's a Weather Eye Higher Ground. We've been making a single vineyard of that since 1920. We skipped 21 because all that fruit had to go into the Sorceress. It was a short vintage, and then we went back to the 22 vintage, and so currently we have a single vineyard Grenache from there, and then we hopefully will start making a Syrah from there too. So.
Awesome. Hey, so I wanted to bring something up. We're gonna go off topic from it, but I know this person watching right now potentially could drop off, and I wanted to make the announcement on here. The Touring Fan Live next month is going to be doing our year-end show, and what we're doing year-end show, we're going to be giving you some awards away, but also talking about our favorite albums of the year. We're going to be handing out, Trey's being a ballot in a couple days of things you can vote on. albums of the year, movie of the year, different things, pop culture related and stuff like that. But a couple of awards we've given out already that, you know, have kind of been under the radar with some things, but have kind of got out. We've given 3 awards out this year already that people in the Touring Fan Live have given out to people, and when we got to see them, one of them was a Creative Legacy Award, which was given to Justin Hampton in Seattle. More information about that and why we gave it to him. We did that at the event with Trey. And also, Trey, thank you so much for taking the photo of both of those people with the award, because that is what we're going to be using. The Creative Trailblazer Award, which was given to Karen Mason Blair. More information about why she got that. The Artist Empowerment Award was given to Karen High of the Project Matters out of New Jersey. She's the person, she's a female that started a nonprofit out in New Jersey to give musicians and artists the ability to have our instruments and musical lessons and stuff at the cost of donors and stuff. But we also, Rhiannon, who has been a part of the Touring Fan Live since day one, when we were going through this award, wanted to do something called the Unsung Hero Award. And that is given to somebody that does things in the community without asking, someone in the community that always gives back, someone in the community that just does things. And Rhiannon wanted to make sure that this person had it right away. Her name's Michelle. Michelle has been battling cancer for quite a few years. And is battling it right now. Michelle is someone that is in the Pearl Jam community, is always giving, and even from her home when she's sick, she is still doing things for the community and doing stuff. And I know she's touring. She's actually on here saying welcome back and talking about the show, and so glad we're back and doing this. And while she's here, because I haven't had the ability to talk to her in a little bit just because of life in general, I just wanted to really say, especially with even the Seattle event, the stuff she did behind the scenes, being able to collect donations and do things, because I know she wanted to be in Seattle, but she couldn't because of, her battling cancer. It was an easy decision. Rhiannon was a big push for it. Michelle was even recognized in Indianapolis with Eddie Vedder on stage, who gave it a really touching speech about what it means and being things. But Michelle really is the exact image of what a person is supposed to be in this community, what it means to be a true leader. I wish I had the integrity and the passion for people that Michelle does. I'm very excited to announce tonight that she is the first person to get the Unsung Hero from the Touring Fan Live. It's going to be a yearly award that we give out to someone that is constantly giving back to the community in general, the Pearl Jam community. And I just want to say that it was definitely it was brought up by Rhiannon, but it was a real easy yes from everybody else involved. And we'll be sending something to you soon. But I know that just want to make that known on this show because of especially what you did for the Seattle event that Trey and myself and Touring Fan Live all put together and raised so much money for. That she was a big part of that, and I think this would be a good platform to announce that on.
That's awesome, Anthony. Thank you so much. Michelle, thank you so much. You do mean so much to the show and to our Pearl Jam community. Exemplify everything that I think we hope to expect from our tribe. So congratulations to you, and thank you again for all you do for us and for the Pearl Jam community.
So, all right. Enough of that sappy shit. All right, moving on. So,
there's never enough sappy shit. By the way,
can I tell you a quick story of me going down a really sad rabbit hole every morning? I don't know why my TikTok algorithm is fucking morbid in the morning, but I watch I'll get up. My wife gets up to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't have to leave till 7. So I get up, I go on TikTok, and I literally am every morning find myself crying in bed, watching videos of soldiers coming home. There was this morning, it was this girl who was battling some sort of disease, and she overcomes it, and she's ringing a bell in the hallway, and I'm just bawling. And
I know, we all do those things. You know what? You know what that does though? That taps straight into your empathy neurons, right? And that proves that you're a fucking human being. You know what I mean?
Some would say otherwise, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. Those are great videos to see because those are great moments. And holy cow, you to witness that? That's so cool.
All right, so now let's get.
I do the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm glad that I feel like we have a lot in common. You definitely look better than me for your age. I'm more of a schmuck, but I feel like emotionally we're on the same page.
Hey, how about this?
Yeah. I know. Yeah, we even like to we like to match. I should have wore a black hat. I fucked up on that one. I put the green one on. But next time we'll have to coordinate ahead of time.
We'll also we have to talk about if we're gonna be giving out awards. I feel like I've got a record label I know that we can talk about. So, but we'll do that off camera. So,
all right. I will say this though. If you are listening to this show, and I have talked about this band a million fucking times. If you haven't heard the album Arches by Illiterate Light that came out just about a month ago, you're wasting time. It is so fucking good. So good. And this band was just up in Seattle last month. They're touring like crazy. They're opening up for My Morning Jacket in April in Florida. You got it. Anyway, let's go back to this. Dark Matter. It came out. What was the official date of release? It was. Oh shit! God, this is how organized we are, or I am. I should be the organized.
Oh come on, you've got it.
I don't know. Let me dig deep. Dark Matter.
Let's go. 2024. It's got.
It came out April 19th, 2024. All right.
Yeah.
So you're
the
talking
day before 420. Come on, Anthony.
I should have remembered that, but then again, maybe I wouldn't. April to May, May to June, June to July, July to August, August, September, September, October, October, November. All right, it's been 7 months. See how I did my math?
Yeah.
And in 7 months, I would say my opinions of songs have definitely changed. I definitely feel the album itself has definitely changed. And that's where I guess we are here at the moment. You're talking about an album that is 11 songs long, has been played heavily throughout the tour in a very unique manner, where most of the shows in the tour, its first 4 songs are older songs, and it goes into Dark Matter, back in all the songs, back in Dark Matter type deal. It's been like that, except the last show of the tour. And I've gotten to know the album fairly well. I think I've heard majority, 99% of the album live. And there was definitely songs when I first heard the album, I was like, hey, it's good, but it's not great. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, this song's actually better than I thought. Because when I first listened to this album, I had a show with another podcast, and they asked my opinion about it. And I think I gave it like a 7.2 out of 10. And that was where I had to listen to it again today and say, is my opinion still that this album is a 7.2, or is it better? Now, is
this Radar Magazine 7.2, or is this Stereo Gum?
This is this is enemy.com.
Okay, there we go. All right.
There you go.
They're not Rolling Stone bullshit.
Yeah, fuck them. That's a whole nother. We can have a whole conversation. I'll let me and Brian handle that with our show. But so I had to think to myself, is this album still a 7.2 today than it was when I first listened to it? And then the other question was, just to give relevance of how I rate the albums, I would say Pearl Jam's 10 is a 10 for me. To me, it's the most perfect album. I love it to death. It all flows well, and it's just a beautiful introductory to the band. The Vitology was like an 8.8, and I think Yield was like a 9.1. I think that's my top 3. What's the matter with you?
8 for
you got it. You have to remember.
I don't know you.
Wait, the way that you have to remember though. There's a lot of fillers. There's a lot of filler songs on there that, when rated, they average out differently. That's how it works. That's how my math works. So sue me. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. So, when you first heard this album, mine was a 7.2. What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10 when you first heard it? Not right now, but when you first heard it.
Slightly higher, maybe like 7.5, 7.6.
Okay.
It was. I liked it quite a bit better than the last album.
Yep.
It's interesting. Hall and I were driving back from somewhere, maybe Tri-Cities or something, and I think I threw Gigaton on, and I think I skipped through a couple songs.
Wow.
And that's rare that I do that. And it was like almost like subconsciously, I just sort of like, And then Holly, I think he's like looked at me at one point and was like, "Well, I don't like that one." I'm like, "Ah," and I don't remember what. I'll be honest, I don't remember what song it was. I just maybe it wasn't feeling it, whatever. I was like, I was trying to go back and listen to it. And I don't really find myself doing that with the new album at all. So I would probably rate it a little higher today than I did, back in the first month. Um, I will also say, not for any particular reason, but I have not like just dived into and listened to this album on a daily basis in any way, shape, or form. And I can't tell you that I'm avoiding it. I can tell you that it's probably more out of like I get so used to listening to KEXP. Like I recognize that there's so much music out there to appreciate that, in my lifetime, I'm going to have to hear 2% of. And you almost have to rely on a radio station like that to give you that. And so I find myself listening to that rather than, or playlists that my, friend Matt sends me. He sends me these great Spotify playlists with bands I've never heard of, and I'll discover a bunch of great new stuff that way. But I find myself listening to more of that than just, whereas the first, 10 Pearl Jam albums, it was like 3 months straight after each album, at least. And the first 4 albums or 5 albums,
Now, let me ask you a question, Trey, with that statement. Is it because of the fact that it's the music that's coming out now that's the reason why you're not listening to it more? Or is it the fact that you've aged and instead of just being so hardcore fan, no, I'm not trying to say fanboy, but such a hardcore fan of one band, you're like, hey, I like everything, so it's hard for me to just focus on one artist right now?
It is. I think that's it for sure. It is. As much as I love this band, and they will always be my favorite band, always. Your ability to listen to anything today versus even 10 years ago. But if you really go back to 30 years ago when we got into Pearl Jam, your input for music was very limited. It was Rolling Stone magazine, MTV, and whatever radio stations you happen to have in your neighborhood. And that was it. And nowadays, it's literally the world is at your fingertips from a discovery standpoint. And it's not that I probably did have a narrower scope of what I liked in 1992 and 1991. It was a much narrower scope of music, of what I listened to and what I really liked at that point. Mid-90s, it expanded dramatically, just because I moved to Seattle and I met 20 really great music like-minded people who had this, and they were most of them were musicians. I was like one of the only non-musicians in my friend group. And so I got exposed to so much more music in that window in the mid-90s. But yeah, I feel like it definitely is the fact there's just so much available to you now. And I've recognized I do want to listen to a lot of different stuff. And I do love discovering all those new bands. And it's like, would I have missed Fontaine's DC if I just would have like focused in on, if I would have like just not paid attention to all this other stuff? And I was like, that would have been sad because that band's fucking rad, And so, it doesn't mean that I like Pearl Jam any less. I just have less time to do that. And I don't spend as much time listening to music either. Like go spend time with my wife and do whatever we're doing. So, and that's not always just listening to music. So, and
I
our
agree.
kids.
I agree
All
with you. And
that.
I
Yeah.
also feel like since COVID, this year has been the most significant when it comes to quality releases in music. I mean, there has been a lot of great albums. Saint Vincent is one of my favorite albums from this year. Jack White's
Yeah.
new album is
Jack White's
absolutely,
very good.
oh
Yep.
my Jesus.
Yep.
I think
And
I
we did you hear about the Seattle show?
that he did.
Dave Place went to that show. I bet Brad and Sam were at that show.
Brad and Sam were at that show. As it stands right now, Brad is supposed to be flying, hopefully, knock on wood, as it stands. Brad is supposed to be flying to either here or St. Louis, and me and him are going to go to St. Louis, Kansas City, and Omaha, Nebraska to go see Jack White. And my daughter will see him in 2 of those shows too. But his new album is absolutely off the charts. It's something amazing. I think Illiterate Lights album is off the charts, absolutely amazing. I also think that the new My Morning Jacket single that came out is absolutely off the chart amazing.
How about the Smile?
Smile? What's that?
That's Tom York's band from Radiohead.
I'm a little bit not so much a fan.
All right.
Just not for me. Not for me. We all have our we all have our thing.
Right. Again, I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong.
Well, it's okay.
Somebody else might chime in here and tell you you're wrong. But.
That's okay. I would say that the new Clap Your Hand and Say Yeah album, the single that came out for the new album, is fantastic. I mean, I'm looking at this list of stuff I've been listening to recently of things, and it's just amazing stuff. And it's all the Pete Yorn stuff has been really good that came out here recently. And then here's the crazy thing about all this, right? Think about this. It took forever for us to get Gigaton, right? And then we got Dark Matter. And then we just come to find out that fucking Pearl Jam just recorded a ton of music in the last few weeks. I mean,
yeah. So what? That's what I was gonna add. That was gonna be part of my question because I haven't been diving myself into all the minutia of the world, but I did read that today. That
would you like me to read a text that I'm not supposed to read?
I want to hear where they recorded. I want to hear who they recorded with.
Hold on. I'm gonna pretend I'm not on screen. Give me a second. Hold on. I'm gonna read this in a dark corner.
I can see your reflection.
Oh shit! Hold on. Let me go a little further over. Hold on. I'm not okay. So if I'm not on screen and I'm just talking into a microphone, I don't think this counts. Hey Anthony, hope all is good. I just heard 2 of the songs that Pearl Jam recorded. Not everything was recorded in Australia. From my understanding, the band's supposed to be releasing some fun EPs next year in 2025, with announcements coming as soon as June of next year. New album potentially either early 2026 or late 2025. Hey, would you like me to send something to you? And then I said yes, and I haven't heard any responses since.
Who sent that to you?
I can't say. All right. So off camera doesn't count if it's on camera, right?
That's what I heard.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing with the rumor mills of Pearl Jam, we all know that for every 100 rumors we hear, maybe one's real and the rest are fake. In realism, the person who sent me this, 99.9% of the time is telling the truth. I have only heard him say one thing to me that wasn't the truth, and it didn't come to face. But it seems like, from what I'm reading, is that Pearl Jam this tour has sparked a lot of emotion and a lot of funness back in the band. The fact that they are excited to be playing music, exciting, and I've heard Australia in general just rejuvenated the band is what the word that I was told. And from my understanding, and once again, it's all hearsay, so take this with a grain of salt, is that they just were enjoying their time together. From my understanding, it was Stone that said, hey, maybe I got this idea, and then they started goofing around, and the next thing you know, that goof around led to a bunch of people bringing out things that ended up turning into music. None of it was finalized or produced, or it was just a lot of them going into a room and doing stuff. The only other thing
who is in Australia? What producers in Australia that they would have produced with?
But here's the thing. I don't think anything was produced. I think they literally went into a studio and this is once again, now I'm peeling back from some of the
mean,
shit
you
I
have
was
to
told.
have somebody running soundboards, somebody's making
Oh,
calls.
of course,
That stuff had to happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no fucking idea. I mean, Andrew Watt could be traveling with them for all I fucking know. Who knows?
Oh, there we go. There we go.
I don't know if there was a sighting of him, but the only other rumor I've heard recently was that a Lost Dogs 2 was potentially on the horizon of tracks that didn't
That'd be
make
amazing.
multiple albums, which I think is a great idea because from my understanding, there was a lot of stuff left off of Gigaton and Dark Matter that is out of this world.
Yeah, but go three albums back. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there for sure.
Of course. So let me get back to Dark Matter. I've also realized I just ramble. I need to get better at that. I mean, 4 fucking years of doing this shit, and I'm terrible at it. Dark Matter in general, which was a 7.2, 7.3 when I first listened to it. Listen to it again today. God, it's like I haven't done a fucking show in 3 months. God, oh fucking mighty.
No sympathy for me. I'm just laughing my ass off over here.
Jesus fuck. Holy shit. This is God, what's happened since the last time?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if you're okay in a minute.
No, I'm fucking fantastic. God, this 15% alcohol is really fucking getting to my head.
I told you.
It's good. It's dangerous. It's fucking dangerous. Anyway, I would say that this album is pretty much the same. I don't think it's got any better or any worse. The only thing I will say is this. Dark Matter and Gigaton, if you took, and I hate this, I fucking hate this idea, because I am the type of person that bitches about the fucking podcasts and shows that says, on today's episode, we're going to take 2 albums and find the best songs of each album, put them together, and make a show about it, which is fucking dumb as shit. But, now I'm going to be contradictory to myself, but if you literally took some of the songs off of Gigaton and some of the songs off of Dark Matter and put them together, you quite literally could have a potential 9.1 album, in my opinion. There is some songs off of Gigaton that I love, and there's some.
So if you go are you 5 songs each? Are you 7 and 3? 6 and 4?
So off of Gigaton, in my opinion, I think that I think whoever said All Right, 7 O'Clock, Never Destination, and Retrograde.
Retrograde's great. Yeah.
Great songs. Great songs.
River Cross. River Cross is a great song. That's a great closer or opener.
I'm good.
It's beautiful.
I'm good.
Song.
You keep that one. I give that to you as a Christmas gift. Wrap it up. Fucking you can have it. All yours. Now, if you put
Whose
those
podcast am I on? Who is this?
My name is Anthony Krisowitz. You haven't talked to me.
You don't like.
Hold on a second. I said to make a better album. River Cross isn't a bad song, but it's not a great song either. Oh, man. What? Hold on a second. River Cross. I mean, no.
I'm just kidding.
You are not changing my mind. No, I'm keeping to this. But now, if you went to Dark Matter, right? And there's so many good songs on Dark Matter. There really is. But there's a couple that are like, hey, this could be replaced. I think if you can make a 12-track album based off of a couple shuffles and make a great album. But we are given Dark Matter in its form it is today, which starts with Scared of Feared and ends with Setting Sun. Now, with that being said, I will say that I do love the album. I think it's a great album, but this is not prime Pearl Jam. It's just a different beast in its own sense.
Is there a song that you're like, this is going to be, when they think about their entire catalog, are they going to take a song off of this album that'll make it in their top 10?
No, not at all.
Top 20?
Yes. There's one song on Dark Matter that is easily a top 20 to 25 song of Pearl Jam.
All right.
And I think it's Waiting for Stevie. Waiting for Stevie is probably the best song that they've written in general since a Ride Act song. And that's just my opinion. It's just because it is creatively and geniusly a great musical song. It's just beautifully done. I mean, I would argue with anybody about it. It is a fucking great song.
Yeah.
I mean, oh. It is just done so well in a way that that is the way they wrote that song is something different than they've ever done before. It is just different. The vocally, the guitar playing, it's just different. Live, first of all, live, this song is a fucking rocket ship to the moon in sense of how beautiful it is live. But this is the, in my opinion, probably since Riot Act, and I'll probably put my foot in my mouth because I'll be like, oh, there's another song off another one. But in retrospect, this is probably the most perfect song they've written since, no, I take it back now, since Avocado. Because I think Unthought Known is probably the best song they've written in a long time.
Yeah. Wave TV, beautiful song, gorgeous. I love it.
So now the other thing too is we have to put in retrospect to this is that the band is different when they wrote this album to Gigaton. There's always politically, climactically, emotionally, family, there's always different things in the grand scheme of things of how things are written, right? So it's going to hit us differently. How Riot Act hit us when Riot Act first came out to how Gigaton hit us when Gigaton came out to what Dark Matter hits us in a way is always going to change based off the fact that what it does in that moment in time. I think Dark Matter is that album that came out of COVID, so you're separating it. I think they wanted something completely different than Gigaton because Gigaton is always going to be labeled as, whether they want it to be or not, is the COVID album. The album that everyone heard and listened to but never saw live, and when they saw it live, they were like, okay, what's next? And I think that was Gigaton. It was always what's next because they heard it so much before seeing it live that they were burnt out on it already.
Yeah.
But Dark Matter
That's interesting. Yeah, and how little of that album did they play on the last tour?
Oh, well, fancy you say that because from our friends at livefootsteps.org, we could find that out. Let's see, shows. And while I'm pulling that up, Jesus, 2024.
You can pull this up by tour?
Oh, yeah. Oh, gotcha. Oh, yeah. Listen, Dave.
What a website.
Dave is absolutely a fucking genius. He absolutely is. And also, P.S. by the way, I think we're going to be having a rating system up there soon. We just took a break right when that was supposed to happen, but you and my song ratings are going to be going up there soon. You
have to let me know what's the click rate in that website. I want to know how many people are visiting.
Oh, a shit ton. A shit ton. All
right, we're gonna start advertising the winery on there.
Okay. I mean, I'm no shit. I would 100% guarantee you that it would be a good investment for you if you look at that website and see how many people actually utilize it and click on it. It's because they have different events they have with things. 100% would be huge. All right, Dark Matter. So that's Dark Matter. Let's see. Let's go to Gigaton. Here we go. Boom. All right, Gigaton. Last played. So I will tell you this, that All Right wasn't played at all this past tour. Never Destination was not played at all this tour. Take the Long Way was not played this past tour. Buckle Up was never played. We all know that Comes and Goes has never been played. And Retrograde was not played at this last tour. The only songs played on this previous tour, which a lot of them, so Whoever Said was played, last time was played was basically in Boston. Super Blood Wolf Moon was played in Chicago. All Right was played in Chicago. No, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't. Quick Escape was played over. Oh, hold on, I'm fucking this up. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Whoever Said, Super Blood Wolf Moon played in September. Dance of Clairvoyance and Quick Escape played in Australia. 7 O'Clock was played in May. What it was May 10th of 2024. So I don't know when that was. And then
Portland, Seattle.
And then Rivercross was back in May. That's it. That is it. So you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 12 songs.
Now, I will say, Anthony, to be fair, if we really dug through that New Zealand, Australia portion of that tour,
Yep.
I bet you're gonna die. If you really dove into that, I would be really interested to see what the breakdown looked like. I'm gonna guess it was loaded on the front heavy side of their catalog with some of the Dark Matter album in there. But like,
Would you like me to do a quick
I
deep dive?
I don't know. You know, if it's gonna take a lot of time, probably not. I'm just
No, I mean
thinking
I have it
out
all pulled up.
loud.
Right, I have it kind of all pulled up right here. So
Yeah.
with Dark Matter, Dark Matter is pretty much in the same sense played relatively between as it was in the States.
And by
10
the way, has every song been played off the album now live? Off of
I can hold on a second. The great thing about this, you click albums, I click Dark Matter, and yes, every song has been played.
Okay.
And let's see, every song has been played from Dark Matter over in Australia. Do you know what song has been played the least amount off the album, which only played twice? Got to Give.
Oh.
It was only played, I think that was Vancouver. Let me see, I'm pulling it up now. Vancouver, yep. And the last time it was played was in 11/13/2024 was in Gold Coast. So there's only 2 times it's ever been played. Wild. Yep. Something Special only played 7. Everything else has been played in that either that between that 10 to 30 range. So
it's funny that Something Special song. It's got that sort of like old time, like, you know, 50s, 60s, super simple beat, super simple groove, you know. And they've done several songs like that over their career.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking right now. So like in this past tour, so only 4 songs were played off of Lightning Bolt, 5 songs off of 4 songs off of Backspacer off this past tour, Avocado, a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 off of Avocado this past tour. And I'm just saying in general, they played at least one of those songs in the past tour. Riot Act, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 off the album this past tour. Binaural, which is my favorite and I think the most underrated album. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off.
You ever heard of Sleight of Hand?
Sleight of Hand was.
I'm just kidding.
Last time
I was asked about the song. I said, "Have you ever heard of that song, Sleight of Hand?"
I have, and I've heard there's a gentleman in the Pacific Northwest that makes wine based off that song, and it's fantastic. But that song has not been played in 2 years. That's that one. Yield. I'm assuming Yield's got to be heavy. Yield 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 out of 13.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and then No Code. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 13. So that's still pretty heavy. And then, once again, a lot of these are in Australia, which I think you had a great idea. It's basically like, they don't play there as much. They're going to play some of the older ones. Vitalogy is going to be a ton. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, and by the way, a 25-song set list now instead of,
correct.
35,
Yeah,
so.
And that definitely changes things. Vitalogy was 9, and you got to remember too, even though it's a 13-track playlist, some of those songs are not even, And then in the same sense, too, 11 of the 12 songs off of Verses, and then to finish it all off, 10, which I'm assuming every song off of 10 was played. I'm just assuming. I could be incorrect, and every song off of 10 was played. So interesting. How I think a lot of those go in retrospect. Wow.
This is the nerdiest conversation we've ever had.
I disagree with that. I'm pretty sure we've had nerdy. We might have been a little bit more drunk, but who the hell knows?
Oh man, we're just sitting here just going over the minutia of the entire tour, but if that's the point.
Well, here's the thing too, right? I am curious now. I feel as though as the tour went on, And I got to see Seattle. I couldn't go to Boston because of my injuries, which was a really hard decision for me. Because I haven't missed a Boston show in fucking ages, and that was hard. Actually, I haven't missed a Boston show in probably 15 years. But the beginning of the tour in Seattle, in Vancouver, and going into Seattle and on those Pacific Northwest shows to what ended Australia, in my opinion, the set lists were stunning in Australia. Were absolutely bonkers. That last set list is, and I'm not a person to like be jealous of set lists by any means, because I feel like everyone gets an opportunity to hear things differently, and it's good for them. That set list had me jealous because that brought me back to the 2013, the 2010, those set lists of like, they're just pulling shit out their ass, and you have no idea what's coming. And that was that set list.
How many songs of that last set list? I missed that.
Well, great that you asked, because our friends over at Live Footsteps.
It was long. Obviously, I was like, it's like 3 extra songs, I think, right? Like
26 songs total. So you had
to
go. That's it. But listen to this set list. Just listen real quick. Close your eyes and pretend I take you back to Sydney, Australia. The date, November 23rd, 2024. You open with Garden, Why Go, Brain of J, In Haydn, Even Flow at number 5, Tremor Christ, React Respond, Dark Matter, Small Town, Wreckage, Save You, Dissident, Given to Fly, Hunger Strike, not even in the encore. In Hunger Strike.
10 years, by the way, Hunger Strike. First time in 10 years.
Immortality, Rearview Mirror. Then goes, and then you take a break. You just had a 16-song orgasmic experience. You just came in your pants. And you're like, what just happened? You have to take a fucking paper towel. You got to pat yourself down, wipe yourself off, and throw that to the side. And you're like, holy shit, what's going to happen now? Then Eddie Vedder comes out and he goes, you know what? Surrender is what we're going to be doing. To Right to Spin the Black Circle, to Better Man, to Special, to Black Alone, Porch at 23, by the way. Porch into Alive, by the way. Baba O'Reilly, which they can just fucking do away with. Enough with the Baba O'Reilly. Get it.
You close with that, right? That's what you close with, right?
No, they close with Yell Ledbetter, which is a great way to close. But listen, I know, Eddie, you love The Who, and I know the band respects him. I fucking get it. We've heard it a million fucking times. As a matter of fact, you've played the song 186 times. Because you want to know, our friends at liveatfootsteps.org have fucking told us. But let's just fucking end it. You played it there. Let's never play it again. And that is how it goes. Come on now. Wouldn't you rather hear a Pearl Jam song? If we're only getting 25, 24 songs?
No.
Yeah, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
I fucking love them singing that song.
No, I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm fucking over it. I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. I'm over it.
But you'd rather hear the song that you don't know the fucking words to, right? Where you and all your friends are singing those songs.
What are you talking about? I would rather.
You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
No one knows the fucking words of that song, and you're fine with that one, but you don't want them singing Baba O'Reilly, one of the great rock songs of all time, where Pearl Jam's the great bands that cover them.
First of all, is Pearl Jam the greatest rock band of all time? I would arguably agree with you on that one. I would argue just to agree, and we would argue just to agree together, and it would be hilarious because we both would be agreeing on the same thing, but it would go nowhere. But realistically, Bob O'Reilly, in my opinion, is not even in the top 20 greatest rock songs of all time for me.
Well, I mean, that's fine. You're welcome to that opinion, you know. But it's a great song, and everyone loves it, and it's got all the things you want to close with. It's got the guitar solo. It's got the crowd interaction. It's got the goddamn tambourines. Eddie's fucking tossing tambourines out like, you know.
You could toss tambourines. You could toss tambourines and yell Ledbetter for all I fucking care. But if you were to let me just put you in this one. Let's say they did Alone, Porch, Alive, Yellow Ledbetter, into Setting Sun. That is a better fucking ending than having Alive, Baba O'Reilly, Yellow Ledbetter. I love Yellow Ledbetter, but a Yellow Ledbetter into Setting Sun, removing Baba O'Reilly, makes that set list that much better. Just saying.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Listen, like I said, your opinion. Listen, when it comes to music, when it comes to Pearl Jam, there's all opinions. All right, so that's it.
What's the old saying? Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. It just doesn't mean they don't smell the same.
Oh, that's a new addition to the end of that.
I just fucking made it up. That's how I roll. That's what happens when Anthony's halfway bottling a fucking bottle of wine.
Oh.
Regardless of anything, it was a great set list. Yes, 100%. But I'm telling you, and I understand the band can't do 3 hours.
Are we having? Is no one watching? Is doing opining about this discussion?
There is people. You want to go to here? It was already a great set list, Randy. One issue I read about this tour: too many signs and requests. I agree with that. Listen,
I don't want to look at the back of a sign.
No, it's not fucking fair. Period. I feel bad being 6'12" with the lady behind me that's 4'2" that just came out of the audition from the Wizard of Oz.
Anthony, that's 7 feet.
You listen, tomato.
6'12".
Tomato. Whatever. Okay, I 6'11" 3/4. Okay, whatever. For the woman who just came out of the Wizard of Oz audition for the Munchkin Gang behind me, unfortunately, that's 4'2". It is what it fucking is. All right. I don't. Brad says.
By the way, try to make the Willy Wonka movie these days. You know what I mean? You can't do that.
They did.
No, you can't.
They did it. They just fucking did it last year with the guy that what's that guy?
Last year that was Johnny Depp. That was like
no, it wasn't. No, the guy that was the guy. What the hell is that white guy's name? The guy that played Willy Wonka last year. What the fuck's his name? You know what I'm talking about?
What's the white guy's name?
The fucking hold on. I'm telling you, they did like a prequel to Willy Wonka. Hold on, Willy. I spelled Wally. Hold on, Willy Wonka prequel. I spelled prequel wrong. Hold on, Wonka. It was called Wonka. It came out last year, 2023. Yeah, who the fuck was the guy that played it? I'm telling you, they made it. It was all good. Timothy Chalamet. You never saw it? It was a really good movie. And then I think it was Hugh Grant was the Oompa Loompa. Why are you laughing? It's a fucking true
story. They had to hire Hugh Grant to play a little person? That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Well, listen. You know what?
Are there not enough little people that can play that role that they'll hire Hugh Grant to do that shit?
I'm actually in talks to be Willow from the 1980s fantasy film Willow. They're gonna just digitally create me to be tiny.
The movie Willow?
You don't remember Willow?
I don't think so.
It was a terrible film from the 80s about a very short person with a sword. Anyway, going off topic, Brad had said that a great ending would be Tremor Christ, River Mirror, Elderly Woman, Yell Ledbetter to finish. I think that's a great one too. And once again, no Baba O'Reilly. Going to some more comments. Trey wanted to kick.
I like how you're just avoiding the fact that there's probably like 20 people saying, "Jesus, Anthony, you're an idiot. Baba O'Reilly is a great song."
Hold on.
And you're skipping over all of them. It's fine.
Time out. I will click every fucking comment in the last.
Mark Kirby, that's not true at all. No way.
Oh wait, Matt Behan said need setting sun at the end of it. Okay, interesting.
End of what? The end of
the set list, of course. It means a set list.
Maybe.
Mark Kirby says I have set list envy. Trey is stuck in the lichens of 1998.
I think you meant Lucan.
You know what, dude? You know, you're gonna be like 60.
Lover, how about some help here?
Hey, Trey, when's your next birthday?
How about some help here in the comments?
Hey, Trey, how old are you gonna be your next birthday?
What's that?
When's your next birthday? Like, how old are you gonna be?
I just turned 55.
How recently? Oh, that's right. I said happy birthday to you. What an asshole I am.
Yeah, October 29th.
I think next year, 56th birthday, I think we do the roast of Trey Bush at the winery.
He'd probably have plenty of people lined up for that. So
I don't know if it'd be as bad as mine. I know the Wishlist
You know
Foundation
what?
would fucking line up for that one.
If you have friends that can laugh at you, then you have a lot of friends. So, you know what I mean?
What if they laugh at you
That's
at
deep.
your expense?
Anthony, think about that. That's some deep shit right there.
Go ahead, say it again. Let me clear my mind. Go ahead.
No, go find it.
Okay.
I said it once.
Okay. All right. Never say it again. All right. Well, God, Trey, I've missed you so much. I'm just gonna say that this has been this is the therapy.
I miss you, Anthony. Listen, first of all, number one, I'm glad you're alive. Okay. Anthony makes it sound like it's a little small car wreck. An 18-wheeler was going 85 miles an hour in the right-hand lane.
No,
and Anthony was in the left-hand lane. Now, he was flashing his brights because he's like, hey, I'm coming up. Anthony's doing 95, maybe 100.
True.
Past his 18-wheeler.
This is such a lie.
As he's driving by, Anthony leans over to flip off the 18-wheeler like, get the fuck out of the way, man. What the fuck?
This is not true.
At the same time, the 18-wheeler drifts over to the left and hits the back of Anthony's car.
This is not true. This is not true.
And Anthony hydroplanes for 3/4 of a mile.
3/4 of a mile?
Until he hits the underpass of a bridge. He's lucky to be alive, people. Okay.
Let me tell you the true story. I was stopped at a stoplight, and a
Not as
19-year-old girl was texting and driving and hit me at 45 miles per hour.
That's still terrible, though.
It is terrible. And here's the thing: she admitted to doing it, which was crazy to the cop. She was super honest. I thought I was fine. Come to find out, I wasn't. But I'm fine now, I think, until tonight. And then I realized I might not be. But that's just a personality trait, not physically. I'm
glad you're okay.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to be doing this.
We all are.
Well, I appreciate that. I will say this. So when we didn't do the show, the last show I did was with you on June 31st, which was the day of the accident that evening. I didn't do a show. The longest I ever stopped doing a show it's usually about a 2-week gap, typically. I would say in September, I had in the Touring Fan Live email an abundance of emails, probably about 20 to 25. Hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? Is the channel canceled? And I responded to some, and some I was just like, I didn't know, because I will be honest with you, like mentally, I just wasn't there. Like there was a lot going on with that, and just some, you know, I was just like, is this even worth doing? Like, I'm just taking time away from my family. I don't feel it. I tried doing another podcast that invited me to go on, that wanted me to talk music and stuff, and I just wasn't happy, and I was miserable. And I was just not happy with what I was being. And then I realized, like, I was supposed to run 2 races. I couldn't run the races. One of them was a qualifier for the Boston Marathon. I couldn't run that race, and that just killed me. And it was just a lot of time I worked up to doing that. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on in the world? And weird thing.
That's a lot of stuff. But Anthony, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff.
But I will say this. There was a day I was bringing Charlotte to School of Rock, where she does her lessons, and I got in the car, and it was one day where I was just like contemplating a shit ton. And I talked to Brad all the time, and we just got off the phone, and I was like, I think I was spewing just a bunch of bullshit to him. Like, I was like, I'm miserable, blah, 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 blah. And Brad's like my like angel on my side, like who calms me down a little bit. And I turned my car on, and Given a Fly, which is a song that if you've ever listened to the show before, I've talked about a million times, is the first song I let my kids listen to as soon as they came out the womb. Like, my poor wife's bleeding to death, pushing a baby out, and I am fucking getting music on a CD player to like get my kids to listen to the first. I'm like, this is the first song my kids got to listen to as it come out, and it was just weird timing. And I was like, you know what? And then the weird thing was, you had texted me, "Are you okay?" ? And it was like everything was like, you know what? I just got to get back into this. So, I question things, and I wonder if like what I'm doing is even worth it. Like, and then I look at the numbers, and like Touring Fan Live hasn't done a show since June 31st. And since June 31st, I've had 162,000 downloads of a podcast of past episodes. And I think to myself, if that amount of downloads was done over that period of time, that shows me there's people listening and care, then I guess I'm doing something right. I don't fucking know. So I am glad that I'm doing this, and I'm doing this with you.
Well, Anthony, first of all, number one, you should do this for yourself. Don't do it for other people. So do it for yourself. Like, I don't do this for other people. I just like hanging out with you. Like, for me, I do this for me because I get to hang out with you for, an hour. And, I say an hour. We get to extend it to an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's 2 hours. What used to be 2 hours a month.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We get to hang out for an hour and a half, 2 hours a month. That's it. You live in Kansas City. I live in Walla Walla. Like, texting and stuff. Even a phone call, it's not hanging out. This is hanging out.
Yeah.
So do it for you first.
And
then all the other people who want to watch this, they get to hang out with us too. And even though they're not like maybe conversing, they get to like, chat with us and stuff. But, that's worth it right there. So
I agree.
Anyway, remember that. So
I agree. It's it's just the effort that is taken to do something like this. This this isn't whatever, but I don't know. I just hope it. But I will say this though, there was especially over the summer, there was a point where I was like, I think this is the last year for Touring Fan Live. I had legitimately thought about it. I talked to my wife about it. I was like, man, this it's just a lot of money and a lot of effort. But coming to Seattle, and when we did our event, and with the amount of money we raised, which was crazy, and the amount of people, I had no idea who the fuck they were, coming up to me and like, oh my God, that episode where you and Trey were talking about Last Kiss and how terrible of a song it is, because I listened to that and it's the funniest shit. And I'm like, wow, this is like, it was just crazy. And then like people like, just like, you don't realize your reach, I guess, per se. And as energetic and as bubbly as I am, like I shut down in front of a large group of people because I just don't know what the fuck to say to people. In groups. Yeah. Behind a camera, I could do this all day long. I could talk to people in front of a fucking camera until I'm blue in the face. But I don't know. Anyway, but it was a really cool experience. So, I'm just glad I'm doing this. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm just glad we're back tonight doing this. I'm looking forward to our holiday episode, which we've done for 4 years now. Next year will be 4 years. Our holiday edition.
And I'll tell you, I want to tell you, I got a text from Jeff. He said, "What dates are you doing your next show?" So
how about this?
Let's take a look at what's going to work for us in December.
Anything prior to December 20th. You just tell him, because I'm leaving to go to Virginia that weekend, and that leading up to it's gonna be crazy. So anything before December 20th. So
maybe are you saying maybe like December 18th?
December 18th, which is that Wednesday? Yeah,
100%. It's a Wednesday?
Yeah.
17th?
Tuesday. Sure, that works too.
I'll text Jeff, and we'll see.
Do you want to?
We'll see. Let's do the 7th.
Do you want to make this like
a day earlier for you before your travel? Probably better.
Yeah, it doesn't. No, it doesn't matter. But do you want to make this like special? Should I try to get like a live musician in studio?
I mean, that'd be badass.
And should we
I can help you with that. I guarantee I can help you with that on this side in Seattle too. So
you could have someone in Seattle. I can get someone even actually in studio. What if we use this event as a cannon to raise money for something good? I like that.
Well, that sounds like that's a great idea.
We'll chat offline. I'll get our teams together, but I think that
all right,
we could do something special and donate. Oh, last thing before we end this show, because did you get one of the Pearl Jam mystery bags by any chance?
I did not. No, okay. I jumped on the Ames Bros poster offer though. So
I don't know if you can see it. Is it in the background? I still have that friggin' monstrous poster tube, the fucking 5-foot tube. I still haven't taken. I mean, I spent all that money on it when I was in Seattle. Carried that shit through a plane. It still hasn't
Which one did you get? Which poster did you buy?
The Pittsburgh one. That was like really important to me. That was like I went to the show. That's an important show to me. That could be a whole podcast.
When you were in my Seattle tasting room, you saw the Santa Barbara poster.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah. But that was, so I bought that from them at the showing at the Safeco shows in 18 when they launched, because I think they did 10 posters that they did, and they did 100 of each in that size. And that weekend, if you went to their studio, they had all 10 posters framed, and I bought that framed Santa Barbara poster from them, and brought it straight over to the tasting room. And so that was an amazing set. So I bought that. Did you get the New Zealand poster?
New Zealand? What's the New Zealand one?
The Ames Bros New Zealand with a big wave that looked like a Maori tattoo, and it had the guys in the canoe coming down the wave.
I did not. So I've literally, I'm gonna be extremely honest with you. I have sold a lot of my Pearl Jam stuff because I have an abundance of. I'm literally opening drawers, and I found I don't even know. This is the Pearl Jam. This is in my just desk drawer. This is the calendars from.
Yep.
I don't even know what fucking year this is from. Who the hell knows?
This is one of the fan club booklets, yep. Right?
Or even like an Eddie Vedder sniper book from 2011. This is just in my drawer. What's this one? Oh, Pearl Jam Love Will Rain Over Me single. This is just in my fucking desk drawer. Another the amount. Oh, here's something good. You ready for this one? This is in my desk drawer. How about an Alive and Well pamphlet from our
smash. That's worth $1,000.
That's worth $1,000 there. Going once, going twice. The Eddie Vedder solo album postcards. I mean, this you have no idea how much shit I've accumulated over the years. Oh, here's a fun one. How about the Strangest Tribe Wishlist Foundation book that I have from the tour? That can go in the trash.
That looks cool though.
It was cool. I paid a lot of money for that art and then never got reimbursed for it. That's all it was. Oh, how about a Missoula Pearl Jam koozie? What am I looking? I was trying to find something. Anyway, what we'll do is next month on our holiday show, we'll do gifts for the fans. We will literally give away a shit ton of stuff because I need to get rid of stuff. I will give away a ton of stuff. We'll talk Trey, and then we will find ways to get donations made to a charity of our choosing. But we're gonna give away stuff, so I think it'd be a good idea. I
got a good I got a good charity with Smash, but we'll talk.
I think it's a fantastic idea. They really hit home when I met them, and they were really. I appreciate people that appreciate you back. And I don't need a pat on the back, but just the emails we received afterwards about appreciation and even the hugs we got at the event, that went a long way. So let's talk offline and get that going. But next month, you give me the date. We'll have Jeff on. Maybe we'll have some other special guests. I think maybe Dave. I'll give Dave Cruzen a call and see if he wants to join in. We'll get a holiday. It'll be like a holiday special. We'll call it the Let's Talk Vinyl Holiday Special.
Let's reach out to Tim DeJulio.
Tim DeJulio would jump on.
I think he'd be great.
I think Tim would be great. Hear stories of what's going on. We'll do a holiday special.
He just got off a tour with Duff McKagan, and he got a great article written about him in the Seattle Times.
Mm-hmm.
And he also is, not just an important part of the music, Seattle music history, but the current events, the shit that's going on now, he's super involved. So
100%.
He'd be a great guy to get involved.
I couldn't agree more with you on that one. Let's you know what? You remember Pee Wee Herman's holiday special back in the early 90s? I say we go fucking all in and have a show where we invite a bunch of people on. They join in via Zoom. We dress up in our fucking Christmas best and we just have a holiday special. I think that's what we should do. Let's Talk Vinyl holiday special next month. That's what we're doing.
All right. Let's you and I catch up tomorrow, buddy.
That sounds good. All right, let's put on. Hey, you know what? What do you want to hear tonight? How do you want to end the show? Do you want to pick on a new song?
I think we. You know what? I tell you what.
I have something pulled up. If you don't know something.
and listening to Baba O'Reilly.
Get the fuck you. Fuck
Madison
you.
Square
Fuck
Garden.
no.
Pearl Jam MSG.
Fuck.
2018.
Fuck you. No. Fuck you. No. No way. I'm gonna. You know what I'm gonna end out? I am gonna end with this song is called
Yellow Ledbetter.
Fuck you again. No, we are not doing any Pearl Jam. We're gonna end this on something no one on the show has ever heard, unless I've texted you and told you to listen to us. This song is called "Payphone" by the band Illiterate Light. Trey, hang out. We'll end it. We'll say our goodbyes here in a minute off air. But this is Illiterate Light's Payphone. If you haven't heard them, I've been saying it for years. You need to listen to them. They're the next big thing. This is off the album's Arches. This is called Payphone. Until next time, I am Anthony. That's Trey. Till a holiday special next month. Talk soon.